Hey everybody, today we've got a hypothetical matchup between Gavin Newsom for the Democrats and Tucker Carlson for the Republicans. This was suggested to me a while back in the comments, and it's very difficult. I went back and forth on several states. I would guess both sides will look at this a little bit differently. As for Gavin Newsom, some people would say he's very charismatic. He runs an important state. He's young enough, he has enough energy, he has enough connections with the establishment, and he would bridge the gap on all the important issues between progressives and moderates. And those same people are probably going to view Tucker Carlson as way too extreme. He's made too many past statements that are going to scare off enough voters. He's somebody on the fringe that is all about conspiracies. There's no chance independents and moderates are going to go for somebody like that. If you think that, then Newsom has this thing completely in the bag. Now, the other view about Newsom is he's too smug. He's a coastal elite. He's not actually going to get progressive voters. And he's too deep into the swamp with the establishment that voters in the key states are not going to feel much of a connection to him. And for Tucker, you might say there is a lot of fanfare for someone who is anti-establishment. His past statements won't really matter when he starts talking about policy in a general election, and he's going to ignite a lot of voters that are tired of seeing the establishment and the media go after him. If you think that, then Tucker is going to sweep all these states easily. So as always, I'm going to try to go more down the middle, but let's go through these states and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So let's start in Alaska. Even if there is ranked choice voting, I still think Carlson would win this by a safe over 10-point margin. Now we've got the blue states. We've got Hawaii, Washington, Oregon, California. Those are going to stay over 10 for Newsom. Now let's look at Nevada. It does border California. Maybe that helps Newsom very, very slightly. Maybe the state is trending toward the Republicans. Maybe it's not. It has not voted for a Republican for president in a little while. I'm going to say Tucker comes up just short here. Newsom is going to get it by a tilt margin. Idaho, Utah, safe for Tucker. Now let's look at Arizona. This is a state that I had going to Newsom, then I had it going to Tucker, then I had it going back to Newsom. It all depends on what you want to emphasize. Yes, the state used to be red. They do like establishment Republicans. That is not Tucker, but at the same time, there's probably some disaffected voters that would like to come out for somebody that's not establishment, like Tucker or Bernie Sanders. I'm not going to do a toss-up, and the border and immigration is an important topic. That issue does favor the Republicans right now. I'm not going to assume it's overwhelming at the time because that might not be fair, but in the end, that's going to put this over the top and a tilt for Tucker Carlson. Montana, Wyoming, safe for Tucker. Colorado, I don't think there's going to be enough red vote there to get this under 10. Newsom is going to be a good fit here, and he's going to get this by a low double-digit safe margin. New Mexico, it's tough to say, but I went with a likely for Newsom. North and South Dakota, safe for Carlson. Nebraska, at large, safe for Carlson. The 2nd District, Newsom is going to be a better fit here. He's going to get it by a lean margin. Kansas and Oklahoma, over 10, safe for Tucker. Down to Texas. I assume the suburbs are going to drift a little bit toward Newsom in this. South Texas is going to go more toward Tucker. The deep red Trump counties, they're easily going to come out and go overwhelming for Tucker. All things considered, it's going to be likely for Carlson. Up to Minnesota, this is going to be the opposite of Texas. It's going to go likely for Newsom, although it's hard to predict. Trump almost won this thing in 2016. It's possible there's new voters that come out and make it more competitive. Let's go to Iowa. This is going to go to Tucker, but I don't expect Newsom to get completely wiped out. We're going to say this is likely for Carlson. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, safe for Carlson. Now we've got the key state of Wisconsin. This is another one. You could have it go either way. They voted for Trump. They voted for Biden. They voted for Ron Johnson and Tony Evers. It really is completely up for grabs. But as we get more into the Rust Belt, I think the Trump voter is going to want to come out for Tucker Carlson. There's no question about that. And there have been some lighter red and lighter blue counties that have yet to drift hard toward the Republicans. I don't think Newsom is going to cause that trend to go the other way. I guess he'll do fine in the suburbs. They'll really run it up in Dane County. So it's a tough balancing act, but I do have it going to Carlson by a tilt margin. Illinois is safe for Newsom. Michigan, this is another one where the Trump voters are definitely coming out for Tucker. The suburban voters and the independents are probably going to think Tucker is too out there. But if they're dissatisfied with the current administration, and it seems like they are, that could put this in Tucker's column. But it's tough to say. They reelected Whitmer by a wide margin. I think it's a little bit more reasonable for me to give this to Gavin Newsom by a tilt margin. Indiana, safe for Tucker. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, safe for Tucker Carlson. Down to Florida, this one is pretty easy. They like DeSantis. They like Trump. It's trended hard toward the right. Plus, there's the battle between Florida and California. I think it's closer to safe than it is to leans, but I'm going to split the difference and put it at likely for Carlson. Now let's go north to Georgia. This is another one that could go either way. Yes, Brian Kemp did win this comfortably in the midterms, but the presidential turnout is going to be higher. The Atlanta suburbs, they've gone off a cliff toward the Democrats, and I don't think Tucker is going to be the one to bring them back unless voters are so dissatisfied with the current state of affairs. So with those trends in those population-heavy counties, I don't think the red counties are going to be enough to put it over the top. I could be wrong, but I do have it as a tilt for Newsom. South Carolina, safe for Carlson. North Carolina is going to be leans for Carlson. We jump up to Ohio. This is another one that's going to go likely for Carlson. West Virginia is safe for Carlson. All the way in the northeast corner, Maine at large. I'm guessing about 5.5 to 6.5 points, likely for Newsom. The first district, very safe for Newsom. The second district, this could hit 10 for Carlson, but I'm going to keep it at likely. Next door to New Hampshire, that is going to go to Newsom, and I'm going to put that at a lean margin. Next, Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. They're blue states. The most likely outcome is they stay over 10 and safe for Newsom. Next, we've got Pennsylvania. This is another very difficult call. Carlson is going to run it up in the T. Newsom going to run it up in the Philadelphia suburbs. And in Allegheny County, the blue-collar workers, I think, are going to connect more to Tucker Carlson than to Gavin Newsom. I don't think there's any shame in giving this to either side. I'm guessing Carlson is going to win Erie County by about 1/10 of a point. And with that, I'm going to give Tucker the state by a very narrow tilt margin. Last state is Virginia. Northern Virginia and the other Democratic strongholds are going to go huge for Gavin Newsom. I expect Tucker to do very well in the Republican counties. It's just not going to be enough. Newsom going to get Virginia by a likely margin. And that's it. The final total comes out to 263 for Gavin Newsom, 275 for Tucker Carlson. And this is one where I could easily make some changes if I did it again. I'm sure some of you are saying there's no chance Carlson could win this thing. He's way too controversial. There's no way he's going to win independents, college-educated voters, women, suburban voters. Maybe you could be right. I did think, along with most people in 2016, Hillary Clinton had that thing in the bag. But I think we've all been wrong before. It's very difficult to anticipate the kind of turnout in this election. I don't think there's much question that Newsom would get much more favorable mainstream media coverage. I think Carlson's best bet is to get those disaffected voters, the kind that would be willing to vote third party for someone like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But he's also going to have to deal with some of his past statements. I don't actively follow him, but it seems like he's comfortable with the media and dealing with all the attacks, and his strength is going to be mostly on cultural issues. Some of that might be portrayed or mischaracterized as extreme or bigoted, but I also think there's voters, especially in the Rust Belt, that would find that to be refreshing. Once you're anti-establishment on either side, it's extra difficult. They're going to come after you. There's going to be smears, and I think the Republicans have had more success with anti-establishment candidates than the Democrats have. And Newsom, he's got all kinds of connections. He also handles himself well with the media, and he would probably do better on economic issues like healthcare, like unions, like wages, but there's a whole host of other issues that might benefit one side or the other depending on the framing. But I think Carlson is willing to criticize big tech and powerful corporations much more than your standard cut taxes type of Republican. Now, I don't know exactly how they would run their campaigns. Carlson is a wild card. He does have baggage, but I know he has a loyal following. Newsom has some baggage of his own, and I would expect him to have a wider but less fervent following. So who knows how this would actually go? This is what I came up with, so let me know in the comments. Did I get it right? And do you think Tucker is able to come out on top? Or did I get it wrong and Tucker is so reviled by so many voters that there's no chance he'd be competitive in the key states? Or maybe you think Tucker would do even better than this? There's a lot of different takes out there, so let me know your thoughts down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.